Since our last meeting, the staff had asked for input from the city attorney, as you know, and asked him to attend today. The information that we received was from the city manager, who indicated that the city attorney had, provided him information that the street name should not be changed without a definite deciding point, or an obvious designation point or intersection. And provided further information that this, intersection point could be installed as a roundabout, not roundabout, but a traffic circle, in the middle of the intersection, where we've been discussing it at 19th South and Yaupon, and that would provide an adequate stopping point for a street name.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for input, and since we have been through this several times already, would request that if you choose to speak, please be brief, and I think we've heard most of the arguments on both sides, but anyway, it is a public hearing, and anyone would like to address the commission? No, good.
I'm Scott Scribner. I still live at 2316 Yaupon Drive. And yes, we are here for a third time, and hopefully you've received information in your packets, and hopefully you've got enough information. You've heard from the city professionals about the benefits. You've heard from city employees about the interest of the street name change. And with respect to your time, we would like to ask you to make a decision, because we are here for the third time. We will respect and honor your decision, whatever the case may be. However, you can side in the impression of improving the city by approving this proposal of the street name, or you can deny that and continue to keep a negative impression. My question I would like to offer you, and not that I want to answer, is why would we fight for the continuation of a negative impression of our city? So if I were to answer that, I would say, that we would certainly want to keep or continue or do whatever we can to attempt a positive impression. Somebody on the planning commission mentioned the other day that, well, Yaupon hasn't changed its impression in many years, and those people who bought or built there would have to continue, or they knew what they were getting into. I lived there and I built a house there, and I will say that person is wrong. Before 2005, there were no homes in this area. It is newly developed. So there was no impression to have, positive or negative. Now we built our homes, and it's still a nice area. There is a section of Yaupon that has been negatively impacted, but not this section. So this is the reason we would like to offer you the opportunity to help make benefit and a positive impression on our city.
To change the name to Southern Point Drive from 19th Avenue South to its terminus to 29th. Contingent upon a traffic circle being constructed in the right-of-way that would provide an interruption to Yaupon. And now it's time for any discussion. I'd like to offer, at least for consideration, to the two motions here. I would like to say that if they're going to do this, and I know that the city engineers would be looking at this, but that we need, as you approach this traffic circle, both on 19th and on Yaupon and on what would then be Southern Point Drive, that there be proper signage that indicates that there is a change in name occurring in Yaupon here, so that people, as they drive south on Yaupon, there's signage that says you can turn out the other side of this thing. It's going to be Southern Point Drive, or if you're coming north on Southern Point Drive, when you come around and continue on that same right-of-way, you now are on a street named Yaupon. I've seen this done in other communities, and it's a fairly simple thing, but I've also seen, particularly in these mini traffic circles, where there's no indication that there's a change occurring. And I think that it's important that if we're going to do this, that it have that. I also feel that we need to have significant and appropriate landscaping in this traffic circle, so that it has a presence that's above just simply being a change in the asphalt that's in the street. And so I would like to offer those two items as possible consideration by the motion makers here to add to this.
I'm willing to add that. You want a second?
Yeah,
All right, is there other points of discussion, other suggestions of what we add to it?
One point of clarification to the audience, not knowing how this is going to come down. If it would fail today, this is not a zoning issue, so you could bring it back next week or next month. If the traffic circle would then get put in and you wanted, and it is an actual new neighborhood looking different right there, the planning commission could hear this again. This is not like something that you would have to wait a year or something to come back, so I just wanted to clarify that.
I have one question of Allison. Allison, have you had any feedback from the rest of the street personnel that live on Yaupon right now in terms of having that name remain the same south of where they want to change this, or north, wherever it is, versus what we have right now?
We've had lots of input from the neighbors to the north of 19th Avenue South, and some of them are here today, and they have voiced their opinion many times in the public forum. I've not received anything additional since the last meeting, but we didn't issue a call or anything additional either. In my summary of what I've seen here at the meetings is that there are some that do not want the name to change. There have been suggestions that maybe the street name should change altogether. And if that were to become a suggestion, then we would need to go forward with notifying everyone on the street of the potential and hold another hearing to extend the street name change all the way down. Or to another term.
Well, we would
that
use a
you
new
see fit.
petition if that were the case, wouldn't we?
The petition we've got is good for another couple of months.
No, but I mean, it
But
we have to
would
have the street right.
Yeah, we have to notify.
We would have to.
We have to notify
we
them
have
that
to
there's a
notify
discussion.
them that they were
That's what I'm saying.
interested in
You want to
continuation
separate.
of this street name.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I
They're gonna do the whole thing.
Just leave it
have
out.
to agree
Yeah.
with, at least the city manager, and I know that there's some people that have different opinion on this. We've got a community where they have come together, coalesced in a way that is trying to change their image, their brand, if you will. This is something which I believe is a benefit to our greater community of Myrtle Beach. And so I would like to see this not necessarily continue with the change of a name on the northern part of Yaupon, but the community north of Yaupon would coalesce in the same way to improve their conditions. It's
You mean
something that
north
we,
of 19th?
I'm sorry,
You mean north of
north of
19th rather
19th,
than north
yeah.
of
To improve the conditions there and through the cooperation of the city with the other staff that's available to help with that we would see this migrate north through the rest of that area and other areas where we continue to struggle sometimes. So I see this as a benefit to the whole community as well as just to the
Would it be cumbersome to have that put on as part of the motion?
I'm not sure how you do that.
That the rest of the street, if this is approved, that the balance of the street would be petitioned to see if they want a name change?
Well, they have that ability anyway.
Yeah.
I know, but I
I mean, I think it's just giving an indication, possibly, that this is,
Well, I think it would be passed on to city council, and I think that it might stimulate them to as this young lady here indicated, they're also interested in that possibility.
It won't go on to city council then. It's just, street names stop here at the planning
this
commission.
is it.
Okay, no, okay.
Sure. But anything that if you wanna send any messages up, you're more than welcome to communicate through this process or other processes with the city council.
All right, any other comments?
Procedurally, what happens if the 8 commissioners here, there's a tie?
Tie fails.
Tie fails?
Fails, yes. All right, hearing nothing else, then it's time to vote, and I think that it's appropriate to vote by show of hands. All in favor of the motion to change the name with the conditions that we have placed on it abstention, then that's the only hope that you've got. Those that are opposed. It's a tie. The motion fails.
Hi, I'm Julie Booth, and even though we were defeated today, the vote was 4-4, which means the board declines. We will be back. We will not quit. We are not done. It's not over yet.
So we're here with Craig Teller. Craig, any comments about the vote that was just taken?
Well, we've worked on this now for a year to try to get the name of Yaupon Drive changed from 19th Avenue South to 29th Avenue South to better reflect the character of our neighborhood. As you know, and has been discussed greatly, the name Yaupon just has a very bad stigma attached to it, and it doesn't reflect the character of our neighborhood. And there's almost universal support for this within the city leadership, and except on this planning commission. For some reason, the planning commission has had a very, very difficult time with this, and you know the result today. It was a tie vote, and we lost because of the tie vote.
Are you disappointed with the vote?
Yes, very disappointed. This should have been a good news story for the city, where a neighborhood in Myrtle Beach has picked itself up by the bootstraps and changed the character of its neighborhood for the better. We've been praised by the city leaders for doing a great job on the south end. And all we were asking was, and we had universal support for it, is to change the name of the street within our neighborhood. And for some reason, 4 members of the Planning Commission have declined, and they don't want to do it. And it's just, I can't understand it.
Well, as a resident on Yaupon Drive for many years, I'm very disappointed that 4 of the Planning Commission members would fight so hard to keep a negative impression in their city. We have 100% of the people in the affected area that are in favor of this change in a positive impression of the city. We have half of the Planning Commission that is in favor of it. We've been here 3 times. They've been over this and over this. They receive a packet before every Planning Commission meeting, and they've tabled it twice because they don't have enough information. Well, it's their time to do some homework.
Okay, I'm a member of the South Beach neighborhood, and I just want to say I'm very disappointed in the 4 board members or the 4 council members that voted against it. I would love to know the reason why. The only opposition we've had are from people outside of our neighborhood. The people where the change would, the people that the change would affect were all positive. And I just don't understand how people outside of the situation can have such a voice. But I'd like to know why those 4 council members voted no.
To be clear, the 4 members were on the Planning Commission and not
The
on
Planning Commission, my bad. The 4 on the Planning Commission, I'd love to know why they voted no.